had around using these sort of like on CPU models that existed. And that's sort of like one thing that we did by removing the friction, by giving like a very, very succinct set of instructions to use it, causes basically explosion of people acknowledging the fact that, hey, these models are not just these magical black boxes that exist in the cloud of OpenAI or whatever other large language model provider. You can run these on your own computers. You can have access to this technology yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I first saw GPT4ALL, I was absolutely blown away, thinking, about 4 GB of hard drive space was really all I needed, somewhat of a modern-ish computer. And I can have a pretty darn good model running locally on any device. Did you think it was gonna take off or be adopted at the rate it did? Because I mean, when I put out the video about it, that video got a ton of views, especially for my relatively small channel. And so many people were into it, and so many people were downloading it and installing it. Did you expect that?
Yeah, we had everything completely planned out. No, okay. I'm kidding. Of course not. Like our intention was to basically do a demonstration that like clean data is the recipe to success when you want to train a large language model. It was just we did these few extra steps that made it very easy for everyone to have access to the kind of artifact that we made. And it also sort of opened my eyes to this sort of idea that there's a large collection of people, also companies, who really don't like the current model for accessing this fundamental technology. They don't like the idea that they have to send their data in like API requests and have that data be done. Have these companies do whatever they do with that data and store it. They don't like the idea that all of their employees are putting their company's private data into this like chat interface that gets soaked into into a few companies' hands. People really want access to this technology because there's a real paradigm shift happening right now in the developer world. If you're building an app that doesn't have a large language model plugged in, you're going to be behind the curve.
Yeah.
But there's many applications that just fundamentally don't allow for data to be sent externally from. Maybe they don't have internet access. And it really started opening up my eyes to like the kind of pent up demand that the world had for something that people can run without having to jump through a third party's sort of like net to use.
And I think a lot of people are just liking to hack on it too. They want something locally that they can play with rather than just kind of a walled off API to hit. So I think that's probably part of its popularity is the fact that, yeah, you have it on your own computer and you can
Yep.
fine tune it. You can mess with it. You can play around with it and extend it. At least that's exciting for me.
Yeah.
And
The
please.
other sort of big thing is we made a
We have a
we made
combination of a
a very
correction and the recognition by the marketplace, perhaps, that some of these models don't have to be as large and don't need as much computing power as more companies use more specialized models. You get the confluence of a reality check. NVIDIA is just a very powerful company. They are so exquisitely positioned in the space, but you're paying for it now.
But having bought it at $4, how did it make you feel in your stomach when you saw 180 billion added in one day, like it did yesterday?
Well, the frustration yesterday was another one of our AI plays, UiPath, reported a quarter and revealed some products, AI products, and really opened the kimono a little bit more in terms of what it is doing on the AI front. And it's going to be one of the most interesting plays out there, I think. It was down 10% after beating numbers because it talked about the economy being somewhat variable, I think is the word it is using. It was focused on the macros, and that's what analysts focused on. Now it's having a good day. It's up about 10% today, I think.
Yeah, up 9% on the day. So you didn't feel any frustration about NVIDIA. You were more focused on UiPath.
Of course. And we publish our trades at the end of every day, and you'll see we bought UiPath in almost all of our portfolios, ARKK, ARK